Okay. I'm going to deconstruct this boot and kind of take a look at it. So we're going to start with the rubber heel cap, slip resistant rubber heel cap, and we're going to try to remove these pieces so as to get a better view as to what's underneath. And so what we're looking at here is a slip resistant rubber heel cap, and we've got a layer of rubber material here, which is good considering that if you wear through the rubber heel cap, there's a layer of protection before you hit the layer of leather. So we're going to deconstruct this heel one piece at a time. It's glued together, but it's a solid leather heel base. So we've got a few layers here. This leather sole, what we're looking at here is we're looking at a full genuine leather sole. We've got a metal shank, which is good, and we're going to separate the welt. At this point, we're going to separate the welt from the sole. And then we're going to see, and this will kind of give us just a little bit better perspective on how the welt is constructed, how it was attached to the boot, etc. So we're going to just carefully try to separate this well. And we're going to get a look inside this boot. Okay, so we've got wood pegs. Wood pegs are a better form of construction when you're anchoring the waist of any footwear, especially footwear with a heel, a higher heel, that does not have a full welt construction. This particular boot, this model of Cuero boots, has wood pegging. So that's the full sole. Here is the filler piece. It's foam, traditionally used in manufactured boots. Here we have a ribbon welt construction, which is traditional for factory-made boots. This is the metal shank. We remove the metal shank, and this is what the boot looks like underneath. Leather welt, ribbon welt construction, and that's pretty much everything that I can see that would make any be that important. Okay, so that's good. We have a metal shank, which is important. A lot of other factory boots compromise on the metal because of the price, and they use other synthetic materials such as plastics or polyurethanes or other things that are designed to harden. So we're going to be looking at this Cuero boot, and what we're looking at here is a couple of different things, right? This is a cowboy boot. This is the vamp of the boot. This is the counter cover. Behind this counter cover is what's called a hard counter. When you buy most factory boots, these are the different things we want to look at. We're going to open this boot up. We want to kind of get a view into how this boot is made and how it would compare to other boots that might be on the market in this price point. In design, when we look at this boot, we're looking at an upper. This upper material has a corded design, and we've got a toe flower here on the toe. So we're going to cut through all of that, cut through the toe box, which is what gives stiffness to the shape of this toe, and let's take a look. So we'll start with the front of the boot, and then we'll migrate into the back and cut a window directly into this boot. I want to be careful. I don't want to cut the insole. Okay. So now I'm gonna cut the outside. We leave the inside. Now we're cutting through the hard counter. And the hard counter is the material on the inside of the boot, which is going to be the firm piece of leather that should exist at the back of every Western boot. This is going to assist in the longevity of sliding in and out of a piece of footwear, right? So you want to make sure that that piece of material is pretty firm, at least firm enough to keep you in that boot. Okay, so we're opening everything now. Here we go. So what we have here, we look at this boot. We open from the very base layer. We have the base of what would be considered the hard counter. It's got a piece of celastic material or a piece of stiffening material that runs up the rear between these two, which is good. So we have, this is the hard counter. This is the vamp. Here we've got the backing to the toe bug, and then this little line we see in here is actually the stiffener for the celastic toe box. And then again, some of the things we talked about is this is what I'm going to call an inverted seam, a seam that's going to cause a little bit less abrasion depending on how your ankles and things are. This is the foam insert where you're going to get all of the comfort that separates you from the insole, which is down under here. That's a foam insole, but that's, again, there's your side view. Uh-oh, there you go. Yeah, so that's your side view of what the boot looks like when you split a Cuero boot in half. And one of the amazing things about this boot that might be a little bit different than what you'd find in the $200 price point of a boot that's going to be a walk-in and walk-out kind of a boot is the fact that even though this boot is in 50% construction, meaning it gets cut in half, it's still standing, right? So the hard counter is probably responsible for that because it's stiff enough to give the boot enough body to do that. And so there you go. What do you think?